What's going on, people of the internet? My name's Denny. Today I got a story for you guys about the time I took 7 tabs of acid and nearly went into psychosis. So I think we should set the setting of this. So at the time, or rather, give a little background to this. At the time, I was around 14, and I had just started smoking about like 2 years ago from that date. And at this point, I was doing acid nearly every single weekend. As I would get money by just working around the area that I lived, and basically at this time, like I said, I was using a lot of acid during this time. So to set this background a little bit more. Before this night, the night before, I had taken 3 tabs, and they were advertised as 300 UGs. Let's be real, though, more akin to probably like 100, maybe 150. These were the white Playboy paper tabs. At this time, I had done a lot of research into LSD. And I had learned that there is a very strong tolerance that is built upon taking it within the first 24 hours, because of the desensitization at the 5-HT2A receptor. And I thought, okay, well, if it's going to tone down the experience and 3 tabs was good, then why not do 7? One more, because I figured it would make the high a little better. Frankly, at this time, I did not understand how powerful drugs could be. And I think that's one of the biggest downfalls that you'll come to find out in this story. So I hit up the plugjaman. We'll call him David. And I hit up David. He slides through my area. I hand him the 70 for a 10 strip, right? And immediately, like a kid at a candy shop, I bust open this little aluminum foil that it comes in, and I just plop these 7 of those fuckers on my tongue, and I don't think anything of it. I come into my house. I say hi to my mom. I'm chilling. I was sitting on my phone for a while, just kind of waiting for these to kick in. I forget if I was talking to friends. I know I did later on in the night, which we'll get into. But suddenly, I just felt like this huge wave of anxiety hit me, and it was out of nowhere, and I had never had a bad trip up to this point. And I probably beforehand had taken acid at least 10 times before this. And I decided, okay, let me go try taking a bath, right? I personally like taking baths to get rid of my anxiety. As I've come to find out in the future, I am a pretty anxious person as is. So I'm taking this bath, and the visuals started hitting me, and I was fucked. I knew I was fucked immediately. I started seeing the silhouettes of aliens around my fucking walls. There were a bunch of geometric shapes and stuff. My best guess, at least 700 UGs were taken, and yeah, I was straight panicking in the bathroom, and I just kept staring at the wall, and I have this really intricate pattern on the walls of my bathroom / shower anyways, so it really didn't help, I didn't have anything bland to look at to kind of desensitize myself or destimulate. So I was staring at this wall, and I closed my eyes a little bit, thinking, because I once again, I knew closed eye visuals were a thing, but I didn't know how intense they could be. And I closed my eyes a little bit, and that's when I really started panicking, because I start seeing what I believe is myself, kind of in a bird's eye view above the bathroom. And I opened my eyes immediately, completely terrified, because that's what I thought was actually going on. And, yeah, I just felt super fucking terrified. So once again, what I did was to try and shock my system, I started pouring very cold water, and I started splashing that shit on my face in the tub, just to kind of give my system a shock and make sure that I was going to be okay. And that shit did not work. Nothing was working. And I kind of felt myself, I don't know if anyone else gets this, but I kind of felt like really dissociated, kind of like similar to a ketamine high, and a little numb to sensation altogether. So at this point, I'm like starting to freak out. I decide, okay, fuck this. Let's go try and get in my room. Let's talk to some friends. Let's see if that helps. So I hop out the bath. I dry myself off, all that good shit, put on my clothes. I'm chilling in my room. I call up the homies. We're talking for a little bit, and then suddenly, like, I start, like, accusing them of things. At least this is what I was told. My memory does start to get a little fuzzy around this area, but I was told by my friends later that I had started, like, accusing them of saying things about me when they weren't saying anything, or, they started noticing that I was, like, pointing out things in the room that were 100% not there. And at this point, they started to get concerned, but they knew I was on acid, and at this point, they were super young, they didn't understand how it works, so they just kind of were like, okay, I guess this is just how acid works, like, we'll just leave him be. So they hop off the call, and I'm left all by myself again, left to my own devices. So I start, once again, panicking, and I remember I'm like, okay, this shit's gotta end, like, what can calm me down? And this was the biggest fucking mistake of my life. I remember I'm like, oh, weed calms me down. So I grab my dab pen, and I take, like, I swear to God, took a blinker off that bitch. And holy fuck, immediately I started seeing smiley faces start forming out of everything. The walls, the fucking, like, my blanket. I tried putting the blanket over my head and, like, watching something on my phone. And fucking, like, their little, like, smiley faces, like, not just, like, formed, but they were, like, popping, like, three-dimensionally outside of the blanket. So I fucking throw that shit to the side. I start severely panicking. I start walking around my house at this point. And at this point, it's, like, 10 o'clock at night. Like, I got school. Oh, that's the other thing. It was a Sunday night. I had school the next morning. And I was absolutely fucking freaking out. I'm walking around the house, and I'm, like, trying to find something to, like, desensitize me. Well, up about, like, I want to say 10 minutes later, it starts getting way more intense. And I'm, like, at this point, I'm back in my bed. I'm laying down. I'm screaming. I'm screaming bloody murder, saying I want to die, this and that. Because at this point, the feeling was so intense that I was willing to just, like, let everything go to get it to stop, right? And I finally caved in, and I frankly am so thankful that I went to go do this, because in case of emergency, like, let's say I didn't get given pure LSD, let's say it was 25I bomb or DOC, DOI, then I could have overdosed. So I went to my mom's room, and I told her, I'm like, hey, you're not gonna like this, but I did 7 tabs of LSD. I'm really freaking out. Can you help me out? And rightfully, she just gets up and shuts the fucking door on me. And later I find out that she called poison control to kind of figure out, like, if I was gonna die or not. Which, thank God for that woman. She's been through hell and back with me. And I don't think I'd be here without her. So basically, she called poison control. And she just faked like everything was okay. So, and which I found out later as well. So she basically, like, she's like, hey, do you want a ham sandwich? Like, let's talk about this. So we talked. She said, no, don't worry. You're okay. Don't freak out. And she made me food. I start calming down. Like, in fact, I start having a good ass fucking time. The visual started to calm down after I told her, like, I had someone to talk to. It was becoming like a better trip. It wasn't good. It was becoming better. And, visual started calming down. I was able to refocus on things. So I just start watching the whole Pirates of the Caribbean movies. That's kind of a theme you'll find in my future trip videos. love that. I absolutely love the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. But anyways, so I like visuals were nothing too good to talk about after that. After the dab, like it was just a bunch of geometry and tracers, all the good stuff that comes with acid. And so around like 4 a.m. I finally go to bed. And keep in mind, I had to get up at 6 a.m. to go to school. So my mom comes in and fucking just starts ripping me a new one at 6 in the morning. She's like, how the fuck could you do that to yourself? You took 7 tabs of acid, blah, blah, blah. I won't go into all the details, but, and like, she just ripped a new one into me. I fucking get ready to go to school. And I remember just like kind of sitting there, in the car ride, and like I was still kind of seeing tracers. I was still kind of like fucked up, but it wasn't to the point where it was like I was unable to do shit, like I wasn't feeling the full experience. And then once I got to school, I obviously I told my friends about what happened, this and that. They thought I was a fucking legend for doing that. And I remember just walking around the school all day, and I had a really distinct sense that, like, I don't know how to really put this. It's like reality could be pulled away from me at any moment, if that makes sense. Like, after that, I just felt like nothing, like reality wasn't permanent and it wasn't in place, and that at any moment someone could go ahead and pull the veil, and I'd be right back to where I was, seeing like fucking aliens, seeing myself from a bird's eye view with all that geometry and how fragile existence, I guess, really is. And I mean, I honestly don't regret it. I think that it really, like, it taught me a great lesson, which, a few great lessons. I think the top 3 are the fact that, number 1, drugs can be very scary. Drugs can be very powerful, a lot more stronger than I thought at the time. Number 2 taught me that, like, sometimes more isn't always better. Sometimes, taking it slow with things and not, doing so much is, like, a good idea. And number 3, it taught me not to do fucking drugs before school. What a novel concept, right? You would think that'd be an obvious one, but, I guess not, right? But yeah, guys. Obviously, this is my first video. No, y'all haven't heard about me before, but my name's Denny. I'm gonna be uploading once every 3 to 4 days, just different stories. I've got a bunch of them coming up, and I've done almost every popular substance known to the man, and also some research chemicals in my day. So expect some bangers in the future. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop a subscribe, drop a like. It would be appreciated. I did want to save I am saving like the better stories for later on. But yeah, I mean, if you guys enjoyed this one, once again, drop a like and subscribe. And I'll see y'all on the flip side. Deuces.